All right, guys. I just want to go live real quick, and the reason why I wanted to go live is just kind of like to reflect on things that transpired this month. As you know, the month of Ramadan passed right now, and for those of you guys who don't know, Ramadan is a month of reflection. Ramadan is a month of contemplation. Ramadan is a month of restraining oneself. Ramadan is a month of actually renewing your covenant to the Most High in essence, in hopes that you can continue that covenant that was originally given to you. And so I reflect on this Ramadan, and I say that, you know, it's the second Ramadan that was spent under the COVID restriction. So the spirit wasn't the same. Let's just say that. I mean, for sure, things have definitely changed because of the COVID. I mean, the social distancing, just the interactions and everything. Like honestly, today in the Eid prayers, it was like just so. I want to say it was just so. I guess you can say the lack of spirit was there in the Eid prayers because of the simple fact that usually after the Eid prayers, you're getting with your friends, talking, conversating, and things of that sort. But you can't really even do that because of the social distancing and things like that. And also another thing with the Eid is, I showed up and I was almost thinking that I may not even make the prayer because of the simple fact that, with the social distancing, that means there's less capacity in the building. And so the spirit was not really there as it was before. But with that being said, I look at some of the things that I learned about myself this month, and I got to carry those things on. Now, social media can be time consuming. Social media can be something that can actually get you, how should I put it? It can entrap you. You'll be so busy on social media, taking a look at the updates on what's going on, taking a look at what's happening, especially in the conscious community, because, you know, by nature, I guess you can say that we like to be in other people's business, or we like to know what's happening at all times. So this month, what happened, and I found this to be actually the energy to be actually good from doing this, is that for all of you guys who know and been rocking with my channel, I sometimes record and I sometimes commentate on carbonation, the sex code, and I also commentate and talk about other of these fake conscious people. This month I didn't really have the energy and put the energy into that. And what I found by not putting a lot of my energy into that is that it just kind of is a simple matter of just not paying attention to it, but still, like, I guess, doing your part in a very bare minimalist way. And what I mean by a bare minimalist way is like you just raise awareness, but that you don't constantly be bombarding, trying to raise awareness, right? That's what I mean by that. So that's kind of what happened with me today, or I mean, with in the month. I just decided, you know what, man, I'm gonna focus on just different aspects of these phones because of the simple fact there's a lot of things that can be done with these phones. I mean, especially the PDF files. But the problem with PDF files is they're usually hard to focus in on because you have so much else going on the phone. But I realized by me not putting my energy into the foolishness that it kind of did help. It kind of like cleaned my energy out. I'm not gonna even lie to you. It cleaned my energy out, and so going forward, I'm just gonna be even more strategic in how I report on carbonation and how I observe what carbonation is doing. I'm just gonna be a little bit more strategic. I'm not gonna put in you know, a lot of effort and things like that. I'm still going to do my edits and what have you, but I'm not going to just like be fully invested in it because there's always something happening in that code, you know. E Kareem, may Allah accept everything that we do. Um, Another thing that happened, during the Ramadan, and this always happens. When you have less of an appetite, you usually have less sexual desires and you have less lustfulness too. So that's what happened too. Like with me, I had less like, Instagram models. I'm not gonna lie to you. You see, please, all you have to do is open up your Instagram page and you'll even see sponsored Instagram models, right? So for me, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and sit here and like try to cap. I would go to visit Instagram models pages. Don't get it twisted. I would look. I mean, it's eye candy. I'm a man. At the end of the day, I'm gonna have desires. It's just in our nature. But with refraining from food, refraining from drink from a long period of time, that desire goes down. And the many African sages have forced this issue of abstaining from a lot of food and abstaining from a lot of drink. And so in me doing so, it kind of lowered my desire to want to look at these pages and things like that, you know. So I want to keep that momentum. So I'm just going to try to keep that momentum and limit my food intake even more, but at the same time eat healthily, like eat densely, densely. How should I put it? Eat densely. What's the word I'm looking for? Eating food that's dense in the things that I need. So, like for example, eating food that's dense in carbs, eating food that's dense in protein, eating food that's dense in calcium, eating food that's dense in iron, eating food that's dense in potassium, eating food that's dense in magnesium, eating food like that's dense in these things, so that way the servings won't have to be as big because you're eating something that is is dense in what you need. So that's the one thing that's which route I decided I'm going to take for myself. Because at the end of the day, um, when you have that power, when you have that control over your urges and things like that, that energy can be, and I'm not trying to use these big conscious Negro words, but that energy can be alchemized into, um, I want to say, alchemized into something different. So that sexual energy that you have, you can alchemize that into creative energy. You can alchemize that into like focus energy. But nobody said it's going to be easy. Trust me. Nobody said that it's going to be a walk in the park. You can just da 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 and um and do it. No, very hard to do. Trust me. Okay, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But I'm going to keep that momentum going, although it's very hard. So one thing I had to do too. This is one thing I had to do, and I haven't have a long talk with myself about this. You know, and I'm gonna make another video about it. I'm gonna make another video about this. But um, Everybody knows by now what is going on in Palestine and the oppression that they are under. They're going through a lot of oppression and things of that nature. Now, and we have to, and we of course have been asked to stand in solidarity with the Palestinians. I have to really get rid of my, I guess you can say, my ego, because there's no secret that, especially in the West, and I'm talking about in non-Arab lands, especially, and even in Arab lands too. That don't let it fool you, even in Arab lands. But I'm gonna do another video about it to explain. I had to put my pride to the side, and number one, first, I'm from all African. Number one, I'm for all African people, no matter where they're at. Whether they're on the African continent, no matter if they're in the Caribbean, no matter if they're in Latin America, no matter if they're in the Arab world, no matter if they're in North America, no matter if they're in Europe, no matter where they are, I'm for my people first and foremost. But the thing is I had to put that to the side. I had to actually put that to the side because of the simple fact I had to look at it on a human level. Although race matters in this world, I had to strip away my tribe. I had to strip away the color of my skin and everything and look at it on a human level. So when I saw pictures of the atrocities that the Israelis are doing in Palestine, I just said, man, oh man, this is sad. This is sad, and that nobody deserves this. But then the little side of me was saying, well, would they stand in solidarity with you with things going on in Africa? Did they stand in solidarity with you with when your tribe was getting slaughtered in Central Africa Republic? Did they stand in solidarity with the revolution in Sudan? I ask myself these questions and I say, you know what? I gotta stop looking. That's the thing. I really understood this more than anything this month, that I gotta stop looking for people to reciprocate the love if we stand in solidarity with those people. The people who have reciprocated the love, of course, are the Cubans, because most of Africa stands in solidarity with Cuba. They want the blockade ended, and the Cubans reciprocate and giving us scholarships, studying over there, learning sports over there, military training over there, etc. Sending doctors to Africa. So I kind of had to put that to the side and not expect them to show solidarity with us in our struggles. So that's what I did, and I looked at it from a human level, and I also looked at it from a level that back in the day, when things were a little bit more, I guess you can say, radical, you had many black radicals who supported Palestine. You had the Black Panthers who were in solidarity with Palestine. Now, I'm not sure if they went to Jerusalem to, show their solidarity and express their support with them. You also had Thomas Sankara, Colonel Thomas Sankara, who also supported Palestine, and with that being said, uh, he was in full solidarity with them. The two Arab struggles in which Thomas Sankara supported was the Palestinian struggle and the Western Sahara Sahrawi Democratic Arab Republic struggle. So because he did that, and he's one of my presidents, Colonel Sankara, I decided to put my reservations to the side and support the Palestinian struggle, despite the fact of the malicious and the racist nature of most Arabs. And then another thing too, I guess you can add a bit more. I want to say just add a bit of, yeah, what's the word? Um, a bit more comfort in that struggle is the simple fact that there are Black Palestinians, and that's who I'm really doing it for. The Black Palestinians are fall into two categories. They either are indigenous to that place, that they're indigenous Bedouin Arabs that are Black, or they're descendants of African pilgrims who never went back to Africa. They stayed there on their way back from pilgrimage. So what happened is that you know you have pilgrims from like Sudan, Chad, Nigeria, Senegal, I believe Ghana, and places like that, in Mali, rather than go back to Africa, they settled there, you know, in Palestine. And so that's what makes the Black population there. So I just show my solidarity for them. Now, God willing, one of these days I can go to Miami again and meet like some Black Palestinians who I know who reside there. As of right now, I don't know any Black Palestinians who reside in Los Angeles right now. For the most part, they're mostly the mulattoes, right? So the lessons that I take from this Ramadan is consistency. That's the one thing I learned. Like, mostly more than anything, is just be consistent in different things that are doing you good. And also create habits, and that habit being, just good habits, cultivating good habits. And I think the good habit of not being too invested in carbonation, it like did me well. And then I want to add one more final thing, and I'm still working on this thing as of right now. I'm still working on it. I'm still not there yet. I'm still like trying my best to get over this hump, but I know that it's gonna come down to me to get over this hump, because I wouldn't say it's really a steep hill. I would say that it's within myself that I really need to get over it. So in the social media world, you may have strong opinions, and those opinions don't sit well with a lot of people who maybe have an opposite or opposing opinion to you. Because of those opinions not sitting well with other people, you will be under attack by those same people. Your name will be dragged through the mud and things of that sort. Now, this happened this month, and because I'm not one to put people out on blast or make videos about people exposing, like make videos about other YouTube users and things. I don't do that. I'm not into doing that, because people did like put my name out and drag me through the mud. My best weapon of choice was silence. I decided to be silent. And I decided that, rather than entertain it, that I wasn't going to respond to it, because I realized, hey, how's it going? I realized if I responded to it, it would give them more ammo if they're like the passive aggressive type. So I know, like, I'm not going to make them famous right now, but I know a group of ladies who threw my name in the mud because I didn't see eye to eye on certain matters pertaining to a former cult member. And because my opinions were very strong about that cult member, right? So because I didn't see eye to eye, they threw my name to the mud. They said, "Oh, he's fake," and da 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 da. I believe they took screenshots of messages of me and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna give their names out. I'm just gonna say to them be their way, and to me be my way. And so because I'm not, that's one thing that I took from this month. That's one thing I took from this month is that you can't entertain that stuff. You have to, because I learned that in entertaining people and things like that, it means your ego is controlling you. There was a saying one time. There was a saying. The prophet, upon him be peace, got back from battle. He said, "We just finished. We finished the lesser struggle. We finished the lesser struggle." And then he said, "We got to go to the greater struggle." And his companions asked him, "What is the greater struggle?" He said, "It's the struggle within our own selves." And that is true. That is very true. Because when you look at it, you're responsible for how you respond to people. You're responsible for if you're going to entertain those people. And you're also responsible for if you're going to give the same energy that they're giving you. And if you give the same energy, just understand that the repercussions are just not going to end. And it's just going to lead to explosion because they're looking for conflict and they're looking for you to entertain them. That's what they want. So that's one of the most difficult things to do is stand on your square and let them talk about you. No matter what, they may talk about you, they may slander you, they may put your name in the mud. But you got to understand that if you're doing the right thing, God's going to take care of it. And you shouldn't try to seek it out for yourself. Although it is very hard. Don't get me wrong, it's hard. Because, for example, you're dealing, like me, I have strong opinions. So I have strong opinions about how the conscious community is nothing but a sham and nothing but used to exploit people who share the same color. I have strong opinions about these racially biased boxing fans who just basically add more to this racist institution of boxing that we have, where fighters who coincidentally are a certain race are being shut out from the big fights. I have strong opinions about things like that. So this month I learned that it's best just to be quiet and just to work on what you need to do, clean your insides out. Because I realized that I'm not saying that I'm great. I'm not saying that I'm pious. I'm not saying any of that. But I realized that usually the people in history who were trying to do good things had a lot of critics. They had a lot of critics and they had a lot of enemies and they had attempts on their lives. If their cause was righteous. One of my teachers, Sheikh Ahmed Obama, Rahman to Allah, the French tried to kill him 286. Yes, the French tried to kill him 286 times. Right? And this man did not lift a finger. He never, was plotting on doing anything to them. He never was nothing. He just didn't agree with the colonial rule. That was just the only thing. So, to make a long story short, I'm going to carry what I learned throughout this whole time. And I'm gonna try to add upon this, you know, because it does change your perspective on things, and it does actually help your heart. If you're doing these things and you just evaluate and examine yourself, you know, um, because argumentation, going back and forth, um, insults, things of that nature, it just doesn't really add anything or enhance your life. It doesn't. When you really think about it, it's like, okay, what are you enhancing in your life? And that's the object of life, is to live the highest quality life as possible. That's what it's all about. It's not about going back and forth with people. It's not about doing that. It's about living the highest quality of life as possible, you know? And you have to also, one thing I learned too, this is one thing I learned. You have to consider the source of where it's coming from. The thing is that deep down inside, there may be something that is lacking with the person that is throwing the darts at you. For example, with that group that did throw darts at me, and maybe it's still throwing darts at me, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. But one common theme I noticed is that they are um, older and they're single. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's by choice, or I don't know if, it's just, uh, people maybe not checking for them. I don't know. Um, as far as I'm concerned, like with me, I am, just trying to stack, because I have an idea of like how I want my family to be, how I want to raise the family, and things like that. And, I don't waste time in dating because of the simple fact it is a waste of time. I'm very traditional. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that I'm down for an arranged marriage as long as we see eye to eye, as long as we're compatible. If someone introduces me, then that's cool. I mean, even on my WhatsApp messages, like my family sends me tons of like women and say, "Hey, what about her? Hey, what about her? Hey, what about her?" So it's not like I'm lacking that. It's just that living in the West, your your focus a little different. So with them though, I don't think they have the same thing. Like that's one thing I noticed. Like I don't think they have the same thing. So I think that's why their energy is directed this way. Because I mean, if you are with someone, or if you are in some meaningful something meaningful, you won't have time to entertain me, because who am I? I'm nobody. I'm just a regular dude who has a small platform who speak his opinion, and that's it. So I'm going to take these lessons with me, that I got in Ramadan. And I had it even yesterday. I had a talk with one of my elders, and I just listened to him. And he said something. He said a couple of things very profound. You know, he said something. He said something very profound. We we were talking. We were actually talking about something. And I'm going to end on this note. I told him a story, and this story was passed down to me from my teacher. He got it from his teacher. He got it from the teacher before him. He got it from that teacher before that teacher, and it just went on and on and on. So this was passed down to me. So Um, and then I think I'll end this live because it's like coming up on 30 minutes. But I'm gonna just tell this story because I read this story during the Ramadan, and I'm like, okay, well, that's my cue to just shut up. If other people talk about me. So what happened was there was a black African scholar in Timbuktu. His name was Modibo Al-Kabori, Rahmatullah alayh. And I'm not saying I'm pious or anything. I'm not saying that I'm good or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna say I'm the dude who minds his own business. But what happened was with Modibo Kaburi, Rahmatullah alayh, this guy was so pious, okay? And when I say so pious, I mean this guy did so many miracles. One of his because he was so pious, his insides were clean. He was able to do miracles. One of the miracles was he was able to walk on water, okay? He walked on water. In fact, I think he laid on the water. He laid on the water. His disciple tried to do the same thing. But the disciple unfortunately fell into the water and was having trouble, and he was drowning. He was drowning. So Modibo, Rahmatullah, he grabbed him and he said, "What made you do that?" He said, "Like, what made you get into the water?" And so he said, "Oh, well, I saw you do it. I saw you do it." So Modibo, Rahmatullah, he said, you can't do what I do because these feet have never walked towards disobedience. That's one of the miracles. Now the other one is in relations to what is what the way that not only me but that everybody should react when someone is talking about them, when someone is slandering them, and it's uncalled for. So, Modibo, Rahmatullah alayh, there was a visiting scholar from Morocco. Okay, and for those of you guys who don't know, although Morocco is pretty black, there a lot of Moroccans have that are just admixtures of different people, admixtures of Turks, admixtures of Spaniards, admixtures of, Berbers, Arabs. Okay, so they're just mulattoes, basically, in other words. So this scholar came down to Timbuktu, and he was a highly esteemed scholar from Morocco. So he found it upon himself to insult Modibo Kaburi. Now, Modibo Kaburi, instead of calling him by his name, which is Kaburi, he called him Kafari. And Kafari is a very big insult, okay? It's an insult to call that. And I think he kept on doing it. Modibo Kaburi, Rahmatullah, he didn't say nothing. He said nothing to him. Nothing at all. He kept his lips quiet. He didn't even entertain him whatsoever. As a result of what that Moroccan said, God caused that Moroccan's limbs to blow up. In essence, they blew up, meaning that his limbs became oversized. His arms, his legs, they became oversized. He was just like, it was a disease. I forgot the disease they call it. But his limbs became oversized. And he was like looking for a cure. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? I need to find the cure. I need to find the cure. I need to find something. So what happened was, real doctors at the time in Timbuktu and fake doctors at the time in Timbuktu, They said, well, there's not much we can do. The only way that you can fix this problem is you have to eat a child's heart. So as a result of this, they slaughtered many children. But guess what? To no avail. He still had the condition after they did that with the kids. And then on top of that, he just had a horrible ending. Now I'm not sure if I don't know if he just exploded, like literally, or if he just died from insanity from his like arms and legs being so big. And granted, that must have been painful too. Of course, there must have been some pain and some discomfort if your limbs are big and you can't walk and stuff like that. So I say this to say that and tell this story is because if you know that you're on the truth, and if you know that you have a good intention and your intention is pure, and your opinions are, or in your intention with your opinions are pure, then guess what? Those who slander you, hey, it's guess what? There's no veil between them and what God may do to them. You know, they may experience things that as a result of what they did to you. God's like, okay, you want to mess with such and such? Okay, I got something for you. Chomp on this. Because I say that to say that my friend who I was talking to, my elder, he said that. He said that people did him wrong, and then they would call him like years later, months later, and they would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, please stop what you did to me. Like, please don't please take off the hex you put on me. Please this, that, and the other." And my friend would be like, "Well, I didn't put no hex on you. I didn't do that. I did no such thing. I took what you did to me on the chin." And so I think that's what we should all do when people insult us and things like that. It's very difficult, trust me. It's very difficult to do. But when you feel insulted, just take it on the chin and move forward. That's all you can do. That's one thing I learned. Because what happened is that someone on Instagram, Instagram called me and they were like, "Hey, do you know that they've been talking such and such and such and such about you?" And I'm like, "Nah, I never had no idea." I said, "I had no idea." And she said, like, "What are you going to do back?" I said, "No, I'm not going to do anything back. I'm not going to respond back to them. I'm not going to start drama on social media. I'm not a certain content creator who likes to bring the news, I should say." And so that I left it at that. And so I'm gonna close this live out and say, with these lessons, I'm gonna try to take them and multiply them. And I believe it will be good and it will create some good things, because the way I look at the world right now, the world is declining every single year. It morally decays even more and more and more. And so I have to, I feel that I have to gear myself up for what's to come, because I believe that there's only bad is going to occur right now. Because when you look at it, there hasn't really been any. I want to say there hasn't really been any good happening. When you really look at things that are going on, heck, it doesn't even feel like we have a president. It really doesn't even feel like that. It feels like weird. It's just a weird time right now. But whoever catches the replay, hope you guys get some gems from this. Whoever is in here, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. I know this was a random live, but It just came to mind. And yeah, man, I'm gonna be back with another video. I'll probably talk about the whole Palestinian struggle and how it relates to blackness. I'll probably do a video about that on Saturday or so. But anyhow, thank you for tuning in. Eid Mubarak to my fellow Muslims. Um, May God accept our deeds. May God accept our fasting, and may we really have character transformations that is going to make us be able to do miracles. You know. But anyhow, I love y'all, love my followers, and I appreciate y'all support. And y'all.